Find the area bounded by the curves y equals x squared minus 2x minus 1, and y equals negative e to the x minus 1 for negative 1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 1. Okay. So first thing I do is I look at this and I'm trying to think of what these equations are. So this is going to be some sort of parabola facing upward, and this is going to be e to the x but inverted and then offset by 1. And I'm not quite sure. We could figure out where these intersect by setting them equal to each other. Put them in our calculator, take a look at that. This would probably be a calculator problem. Probably. And I try to avoid using the calculator when I can because you lose a lot of intuition when you use a calculator. And when you use a calculator, there's always a chance that you're just going to mess up on one of the numbers. Push the wrong button, and you get the wrong answer without ever knowing it. When you write things down and logic it out, you're much less likely to make that mistake. So, but in this case, I'm just going to go straight to Wolfram. And I know you can't use Wolfram on AP exams. It's true. You can't. Minus 2x minus 1. Minus 2x minus 1. But you can do the same thing on the calculator, and this is just more convenient. Negative e to the x minus 1. Okay. Make sure I got my equations right. X squared minus 2x minus 1. And then we'll be looking for negative 1 to 1. Okay. Got that. So it looks like x squared minus 2x. So yep, it's an upward facing parabola. More or less. And then negative e to the x minus 1 is just e to the x but upside down. And then shifted down 1 as well. And we're looking for the area from negative 1 to 1. So the important part is these do not cross. And x squared minus 2x minus 1 is the one that's on top. Okay? So I'm going to draw those out real quick. So we have something kind of like this, something kind of like that. Not drawn to scale, but that's okay. And this will be x squared minus 2x minus 1, and this will be negative e to the x minus 1. Here now, we're going to do integral, be from negative 1 to 1, of x squared minus 2x minus 1, because we know that's the one that's going to be on top. By on top, I mean greatest y value. So even, it's not relative to the x-axis, it's just which one's towards the top of the page. If we think of it in terms of math, of a map, this would be which one is ever the most northernly. Okay. Now we'll just do a dx, distribute the negative sign. So then we have, okay, so this looks like it's going to be pretty much just the power rule. So we'll have x squared minus 2x. The negative 1 and the plus 1 will cancel, and we'll have plus e to the x. Not too bad, not too bad. And then dx. Taking the integral of all this, we'll get x cubed over 3 minus 2x squared over 2 plus e to the x. Yep. And this will be evaluated from negative 1 to 1. The 2's will cancel out. Now we can actually solve it. Light blue, cyan. Cyan, baby blue. So we have 1/3 minus 1 plus e minus, now we have negative 1 to the third is negative 1/3 minus positive 1, because negative 1 squared is going to be then positive 1, plus, and then e to the negative 1 will be 1 over e. Distribute the negative sign. Now we're left with slightly darker blue. So we look here, we're going to have a negative 1 and a positive 1. So we're going to have 2/3 minus 1 over e. Plus e right here. So e plus 2/3 minus 1 over e. See what we got here. So let's rewrite this real quick. So we have e plus 2/3 minus 1 over e. Whoop. Plus 2/3. So the closest one we have is this one. But our e is the wrong sign. So I'm going to check that real quick. Could be a problem with the answer, but good to be safe. So we have the x squared minus 2x minus 1. That seems reasonable. Then we have our e to the x here. Yep. Nope. I am confident that we are correct on this. So this should actually be negative 1 over e. And the rest of the questions, answers don't even really make much sense compared to this. So to backtrack, we're asked to find the area between these two curves. We had to figure out where the points intersect and which one's on top, which on bottom. That'll give us our limits of integration. If they intersected, then it would change which one is on top, which on bottom, probably. And so then we would have to be careful on which equation we subtract from the other one. Long story short, we found out through graphing that x squared minus 2x minus 1 is greater than negative e to the x minus 1 for the interval negative 1 to 1. So we took x squared minus 2x minus 1 minus the quantity negative e to the x minus 1. We then did some algebra to shrink that down a little bit. We had the power rule, and then we did the exponential rule. And we ended up getting an equation, which we evaluated from negative 1 to 1. We evaluated it, and we found a final answer of, way too far off the reservation, e plus 2/3 minus 1 over e. And that is our final answer. Thanks for joining me. Hope this helped. I will see you on the next problem.